It says meeting is now streaming live. It says unable to live stream.
No. Oh, meeting.
Yeah, it says it's streaming. Okay,
I can check. I'll take the streaming. Don't worry about that right now. Let's just. Plus, you have. I think it looks like I'm. You also need to share the.
Maybe prepare that. Then I gotta do the share screen.
Yeah, because right now.
Is that what you see in there now?
Shabbat Shalom. This is a really remarkable Shabbat. Please think about this with me. For the past 14 months, every one of our Friday night services has been online and not in person. We haven't been together for in-person worship in 14 months. And tonight is the last night that we won't be able to be together, because next Friday night, we're going to be worshiping together in person outdoors on the courtyard. That is just remarkable. Yeah, of course, there are things you need to know. I'm not saying that that's everything there is about it. There's some masks and, have to register. And you'll find out more about that in announcements, and you could find it on our website. But let's just pause for a moment to think about what kind of transition this means. We have perhaps, maybe, before this all started, maybe we took for granted what a blessing it is to be together to pray. What a wonderful thing it is just to feel our community in person. We just assumed it always, and we'll never take that for granted again. We will know that it is a wonderful thing to be together. We've been longing to reach out to each other. We've been longing to be there for one another. And starting next week, we're going to be able to do that. I wanted to find a way to mark that transition, that occasion. So here's a song that I believe conveys what we've been feeling, what maybe we're still feeling right now. This is a song that I think speaks on more than one level. and I hear in its lyrics a beautiful spiritual message. Now if you feel that you can't go on because all of your hope is gone and your life is filled with much confusion until happiness is just an illusion and your world around is crumbling down, darling, reach out, reach out. I'll be there with the love that will shelter you. I'll be there with the love that will see you through when you feel lost and about to give up, 'cause your best just ain't good enough, and you feel the world has grown cold and you're drifting out all on your own, and you need a hand to hold. Darling, reach out, reach out. I'll be there to love and comfort you. I'll be there to cherish and care for you. Darling, reach out. Shabbat Shalom. I'll be there for you next Friday night on our courtyard. We're going to begin our worship this evening with the lighting of Shabbat candles. Our candles will be lit by tomorrow morning's bat mitzvah, who will also lead services out on the courtyard for the Shapiro's invited guests and all of us watching online. Maayan Shapiro's tomorrow morning's bat mitzvah. She's going to be joined by her parents, Devra and Josh, and her brother, Max. I invite you to follow along with the prayers in our prayer book on page 3. You could find the prayer book on our website under virtual resources. It's called Mishkan Tefillah for Shabbat. Open up the prayer book so you could follow along with all of our prayers and our songs. You'll also find on our website under virtual resources our song sheet with lyrics for some of the songs we'll be singing this evening. Page 3 in the prayer book. Over to the Shapiros.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you to the Shapiros. Let's continue in our prayer book on page 8. I begin with the prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. Page 10. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, hine ma tov. Yai lai 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 lai. Hine ma tov, hine ma tov. Yai lai 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 lai. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim ya lai 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 lai. Hine ma tovu manayim ya lai 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 lai. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shevet achim gam yachad. We continue now with Chatzi Kaddish on page 145. Mayan is going to lead us in Chatzi Kaddish, page 145.
Yikra vikra shemei rabba.
Amen.
Dama divarak vihute v'yamlik malhute v'chayin aviyam echad v'chayit Jehovah Israel bagala uvizman tarif v'meru
Amen.
Yehei shmei rabba mevora Layalam lo me'amaya yikara Yibrak v'shabak v'ka'ar v'chaman v'naseh v'tadar v'taleh v'talal shemir kusha brehu la'ela minkot v'shirata v'shirata tushbechata v'nemata damiram bilma v'meru.
Amen.
Amen. I invite you to turn to page 146 and rise for Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed.
Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim.
On page 149, you'll see Shema, and this setting for Shema has English lyrics that you could find on the song sheet on page 4 of the song sheet. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Leolam Vaed. Thou shalt love Adonai thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be upon thy heart, shall be upon thy heart. Thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children. Thou shalt speak of them when thou sittest in thy house, when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up, and when thou risest up. Thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, that they may be for frontlets between thine eyes. Thou shalt write them on the doorposts of thy house, and upon thy gates, and upon thy gates, that ye may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God. We continue in the prayer book on page 151. Ruth Gaston is going to lead us.
Okay. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all. Yet that oneness eludes our grasp as imperfection and evil abound. Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul. When will redemption come? when we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves. Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. We learned God's presence redeems time and event. So we celebrate this power that makes for freedom.
Page 152. Mi chamocha, ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha, nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osei vele. Mi chamocha, ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha, nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osei vele. Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Who is like you? Adonai, who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai. Malechutecha ra'u vanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam ze Elianu anu ve'ameru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Who is like you? Adonai. Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai. Page 153. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. We rise for the Amidah, page 155. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Sfatai tiftach. Na 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 Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Na 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 Adonai. Adonai na 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 Sfatai tiftach. Adonai na 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 Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Velohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot, ומביאו לה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל HaKadosh. You may be seated. Janet Ellis Milder is going to lead us on page 160.
May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Page 163. For the good in us which calls us to a better life, we give thanks. For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise. For the desire in us which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful. For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise to the source of being. For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. You could find words for silent prayer on the next 2 pages. I invite you to take a moment to pray silently. In the middle of page 167. Yehiyu leratzon, imrei fi, v'hegyon libi lifanecha. Yehiyu leratzon, imrei fi, v'hegyon libi lifanecha. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri ve'goali. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri ve'goali. Yehiyu leratzon imrefi, v'hegyon libi lifanecha. Yehiyu leratzon imrefi, v'hegyon libi lifanecha. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri ve'goali. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai tzuri vegoali. This time in our worship, we ask for healing for members of our congregation and their loved ones who are ill. If you are praying for healing of body or spirit for a loved one, I invite you now to share their name in the chat box so that we may join our prayers to yours. This is our way of calling their names out loud across the space that we share. O God, in our hearts we name those who are facing illness and pain. We join our prayers with the prayers of all who love them. Give them renewed comfort and courage. Strengthen in them the healing powers you have placed within us all. Guide the hands and hearts of those who are entrusted with their care. May the knowledge of your love and ours give added hope to our dear ones. May they find even greater strength because our prayers are linked with theirs. May you bring healing to all who are afflicted by the pandemic of our time, and may you protect all those who labor on their behalf. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. We praise you, God, the source of healing. And let us all say, Amen. Let's join together in this prayer for healing, Misha Berach, which you can find on page 253. Misha Berach Avoteinu Mikor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. A pew, as you probably know, is a bench in a house of worship. Pew, with a capital P, however, is one of the foremost survey research centers in the country. Last week, the Pew Research Center released the findings from its 2020 survey of American Jews. It used to be that these surveys were conducted under the auspices of the Jewish Federations of North America or by local Jewish federations. That required an enormous apparatus of cooperation, planning, and funding, all of which has been alleviated for the better by Pew stepping into the role of lead investigator into American Jewish demography. Pew has no horse in this race. It makes no policy recommendations. it does not pass judgment over what is good for the Jews, or, given the hand-wringing that typically followed past surveys, it does not prognosticate about the impending demise of the Jewish people or its causes. Pew counts. It counts heads, behaviors, and attitudes. And then, miracle of miracles, makes that data available to researchers to do their own crosstabs and regression analysis. And the data is fascinating. For example, there are 7.5 million Jews in the United States. That's a lot. Jews constitute 2.4% of all Americans, which is about what previous studies have indicated. We are not disappearing. On the other hand, we are morphing. It is not possible to compare numbers precisely with the last Pew study, which was conducted in 2013, because the way they identified participants in the survey has changed. Gone is the random digit dialing method, because so many people have blocked phone calls to avoid spam. Gone is the distinctive Jewish names method, because that would bias the sample toward Ashkenazi Jews by birth and away from Jews of non-European origin and Jews by choice. The new use of online and snail mail surveys may have actually given us a more accurate portrait, but comparing 2013 to 2020 is a bit of comparing apples to oranges. Still, our identity would appear to be shifting. How do we know? Well, one way is to compare older Jews to younger Jews. Let's take the entire pool of people who call themselves Jews. Of this pool, 73% say that their religion is Judaism. More than 1/4 of American Jews, however, say that they have no religion. That is, they consider themselves Jewish. They do not consider themselves to be Christian or some other religion, but they do not identify Judaism as their religion. They aren't describing their attitudes or behaviors the way many of our congregants might say, I'm not religious. Rather, 27% of American Jews self-identify as having no religion. Or they say they are atheist or agnostic or nothing. They consider themselves to be Jews, but Judaism is not their religion. That finding in itself might be striking. Comparing across age groups, however, suggests a trend. The younger the age cohort, the larger the proportion of American Jews who say that they are Jews of no religion. From 16% of Jews over 64 years of age to 40% of adult Jews under 30 years of age. One conclusion that might be drawn is that we are becoming an increasingly secular community. If one were to extrapolate into the future, the trend would appear to be headed in the direction of less and less self-identification with Judaism as a religion, which leaves one to ask, what's left? Jewish food? How long is such an identity sustainable? Pew makes no judgment on that point. It's up to sociologists to interpret. But astute observers of survey research will note that there is a problem not just with extrapolating into the future, but with the premise that Jewish identity by religion is on the decline. The problem is that the way we think of ourselves might change as we age. Perhaps younger Jews are less inclined to think about Judaism in religious terms, but the older they get, the more their self-understanding of what it means to be Jewish shifts from a kind of generic, I don't know, but that's what my parents were, so I guess I'm Jewish too, to a kind of specific, well, I may not do a lot, and I'm not sure what I believe, but I can tell you that Judaism is what makes sense to me. I hear this a lot. People who were not members of synagogues for most of their adult lives sometimes join as seniors and even become active. They become active in worship, in adult education, in Torah study. Jews develop a rationale for why Judaism feels right, even without any clear theology. They may say, Judaism is all about asking questions more than having the answers. I am skeptical of religions that pretend to have all the answers. Judaism isn't like that. In other words, Jews sometimes give themselves permission to associate with Judaism, and that tendency just might increase as one ages. So that 40% of 18 to 29-year-old Jews who say they have no religion might just turn out to be a lot fewer when they hit 30 years old, or 40, or 60. Just looking at the Judaism versus no religion dichotomy, though, does not fully portray the spectrum of Jewish identity. Imagine a spectrum with the Orthodox on the right. I guess you're looking at the, I don't know. Imagine a spectrum with the Orthodox on the right and conservative Jews just to their left, and Reform Jews to their left, then Jews by religion, but of some other label to their left, and finally our Jews of no religion on the far left. The largest of these movements on the spectrum, at least in terms of self-identification, continues to be the Reform movement. That's consistent with previous surveys. 37% of American Jews call themselves Reform. Another 1/3 of American Jews say they have no denominational identity, but that includes all those who say they have no religion. So, of those who consider themselves Jews by religion, the proportion who are Reform is actually much larger. Conservative Jews account for 17% of American Jews, and the Orthodox are 9%. 4% identify with some other kind of label like Reconstructionist, Renewal, or something else. It's when we go to the crosstabs with age, though, that a possible trend becomes apparent. The middle, that is, the Reform and conservative identities, declines in number among younger Jews. And it's not just the Jews of no religion who account for a greater proportion of younger Jews. 17% of Jews who are between the ages of 18 and 29 call themselves Orthodox. 17% of Jews, adult Jews under the age of 30, 17% call themselves Orthodox. That's compared to just 3% of the Jews who are 65 years or older. What we've got then is a flattening of the bell curve. The center is moving downward and the peripheries are growing. This is a sea change from the American Jewish community in the mid-20th century, which saw the exact opposite trend, a rising level of centrist identification that paralleled the suburbanization of American Jews. Even more striking is the trend within the Orthodox world. So 17% of Jews under 30 may call themselves Orthodox, but most of these, 11% of all Jews under 30 identify as ultra-Orthodox, that is, Haredi Jews. In other words, the ultra-Orthodox have been having more babies at a younger age. And as they grow up, they become a larger proportion of the adult Jewish population. If you went back 50 years, no one would have ever imagined that this would happen. So either America has become a more hospitable place for religious diversity, more accommodating to religious expressions that would previously have been regarded as fringe, or larger numbers of Jews are retreating into an insular bubble where they feel safer and more supported. Or both are true. Pew describes this pattern as divergence, the idea that the middle occupies less of a dominant position of Jewish identity. That fits with what seems to be happening in society at large, with more and more divergence between communities and allegiances that see little in common with one another. The same pattern is replicated in the political leanings of Jews themselves. 80% of Reform Jews lean Democratic, while 75% of Orthodox Jews lean Republican. That didn't used to be the case. We seem to be moving apart, and that reflects a broader societal trend of which we are just one part. I've only given you the tip of the iceberg, or the Goldberg as the joke goes. Thanks to the Pew Research Center, we now know a lot more about American Jews. It's not all cheery news, but data is the beginning of having meaningful conversations about where we need to put our energies. Build stronger relationships to unite Jews across the religious spectrum, nurture a vibrant spirituality among Jews alienated from religion? Maybe both? That's the view from the pew. Is the Kiddush cup half full or half empty? Let's just sum it up with a Jewish kind of judgment. It could be worse. Well, let's find out what's going on in our congregation. Claire Moran, past president of Congregation Beth Emek, has the announcements for us tonight. Claire?
Thank you, Rabbi Milder, for leading us in worship, and thanks also to the congregants who helped lead the service. I would also like to thank our tech mensches for doing the behind-the-scenes work for this service to be live-streamed. After the service, you are invited to join us for an Oneg Shabbat in Zoom. The link to the Zoom Oneg is the same link as for this service and can be found in the most recent Once Around Beth Emek newsletter. Tomorrow morning at 10:30, our Shabbat service will be led in great part by Mayan Shapiro, who is becoming bat mitzvah, and you can watch the live stream on our website. Every Friday night in June at 7:30, we will hold our Shabbat service outside in the rear courtyard at Beth Emek. There will be a Shabbat morning service every Saturday in June at 10:30. And on June 5th, we will hold our Shabbat service outside in the rear courtyard at Beth Emek. All Friday night and Saturday morning services will continue to be available on Zoom and live streamed to ensure they are accessible to all. If you want to attend in person, please register in advance. That is required because of space limitations. Tomorrow night at 7:30, Edgy will have a game night for our teens. This Sunday morning, Torah study will meet online at 9 and will continue to meet on Sunday mornings through June. Join us for CBE's annual membership meeting via Zoom on Sunday, June 6th at 10 o'clock. On Sunday, June 13th, we will have a program, Life in Washington, D.C., an evening with Charles and Debbie Ball. The Balls have returned to the Tri-Valley after over 2 years in the Washington, D.C. area. They were transferred there for their jobs in national security. We'll share an evening on Zoom with them and welcome them back. I know I missed them. And to hear about their experience of work and life back east. Beth Emek has been an active participant in the Interfaith Backpack Project for over 25 years. Please consider a donation to provide quality school supplies for disadvantaged students in Livermore. The donations are needed now so that the materials will be ready for late summer delivery. And 100% of your donation will be used to buy those school supplies. Registration is open for the 2021-22 school year at Beth Emick Preschool. Also, registration for URJ Camp Newman in Santa Rosa is open. Sessions are filling fast. For additional information and all links, visit our website, bethemick.org, or this week's Once Around Beth Emick. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Claire. Our service continues now with Aleinu on page 282. We're chanting the Aleinu at the bottom of the page, and I invite you to rise. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latekedu laliotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, V'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Page 285. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Page 287. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Before we conclude our worship, we call to mind loved ones with whom we traveled on the path of life. Those who died in recent days and those who died at this season in years past continue to influence us in the choices we make and in the way we show our love and compassion for one another. The company of this holy congregation brings us comfort in this moment of memory. As we recite Kaddish, we sense that we are linked in a common expression of support to all who mourn in our community, together with those who mourn everywhere during these difficult days. This evening, we remember these members of our congregation and their loved ones who have died within the past 30 days. We observe Shloshim for Vincent Williams. And we remember those whose yahrzeit occurred during the past week. We observe yahrzeit for Seymour Amazon, Bronya Auerbach, Eva Epstein, Sam Fishman, Felicia Ann Gaston, Julius Gordon, Matthew Hoffman, Arthur Holtz, Mark Kleinbort. And we remember those whose yahrzeit occurred, and we pray together with those who are observing the first year of mourning. Zichronam livracha. May the memories of our loved ones be a blessing. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 294. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, ba'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayed achol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach Elam Ulalmei Almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shmei Dekudisha B'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechmata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba min Shemaya. B'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us all say, amen. You may be seated. Following our closing song, we're going to join together in Kiddush and Motzi. So stick around for that. And then Oneg Shabbat, where we all get to greet one another and catch up. For a closing song, a beautiful setting of Bayom Hahu on that day. This is on our song sheet on page 10. A day will dawn in the time to come, a day when God's name shall be won. All war and suffering shall be through. When that day comes, Bayom Hahu, Bayom Hahu, and on that day I will wipe all tears away. Sorrow and pain shall all be gone, and my name it shall be one. Bayom Hahu, Bayom Hahu. Let justice and righteousness flow like a stream. The old and the young shall see visions and dream, and what we dream shall yet come true. When that day comes, Bayom Hahu, Bayom Hahu, and on that day I will wipe all tears away. Sorrow and pain shall all be gone, and my name it shall be one. Bayom Hahu, Bayom Hahu. They shall not hurt and destroy in your holy place. Your word shall be known to the whole human race, on their lips and their hearts, so they'll know what to do when that day comes. Bayom Hahu, Bayom Hahu, and on that day I will wipe all tears away. Sorrow and pain shall all be gone, and my name it shall be one. Bayom Hahu, Bayom Hahu. The spear will break and the chariot burn. The hearts of the parents to children will turn, the children to parents, and all turn to you. When that day comes, Bayom Hahu, Bayom Hahu, and on that day I will wipe all tears away. Sorrow and pain shall all be gone, and my name it shall be one. Bayom Hahu, Bayom Hahu, Bayom Hahu, Bayom Hahu, Bayom Hahu, Bayom Hahu. Well, let's join together. I hope you have something to say Kiddush over. Mayan, you got a Kiddush cup there that you could show us? Hold up the Kiddush cup for us to see. Let's see, there we go. You got it? All right,
No, it's
there you
food.
go. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'yava, uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh, Zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'yava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mikadesh ha-shabbat. L'chaim.
Chaim.
Will you lead us in Motzi Mayan. Let's see. If you've got a challah, let's uncover that challah.
Um,
Hold it up and you lead us in Motzi, please. It's on page 302 if you're looking for it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lahem min haaretz. Amen.
Amen. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, everybody. You're welcome to unmute yourself and say hello and greet one another and wish Mazel Tov to the Shapiros also.
Oh, beautiful.
Shabbat shalom.